I'm building the whole backend of my future personal development gaming app. And today I'm going to show you how my previous user story mapping session led me to not build the whole app, but started planning the engine first. And as a result, I am building the whole app, which is pretty crazy. Let's jump right into it, and I'm going to guide you through the process. And as always, in the video description, you can find all the links and all the learnings I've made during the session as Markdown files for free. Most recently, I sat down to create a story map based on the vision that I had to develop this gaming app. I spent like 40 minutes to realize that it is not the right point to start vibe coding the app. It's rather more important to create a concept and to build the backend structure first. The whole game is about your personal hero's journey. People rather spend time on leveling up computer characters instead of their own lives. So that's what made me think, hey, there must be a solution and a way to level up my own life with the help of an app. And based on this vision, I started thinking, how could I build something like that? Due to my background as a psychotherapist as well as a product manager, I realized, okay, that's a nut that I'd be able to crack. I sat down and started mapping out the whole user flow. And while I'm doing this, I realized the core is to understand the user, obviously. If I don't know what you are planning and what you're desiring and where you want to go, including all your challenges that every hero has, I cannot give you the right quests in order to grow. And this is what just came up during the story mapping session. I realized I need to build a questionnaire first in order to understand my users. And the outcome that I got is crazy. If you want to watch the whole planning session, check out the link in the video description. Let's now take a look on the whole engine and how I build it actually. The first question I ask myself is, what does it actually mean to be a hero? And why do we love our heroes so much? There are shows like Superman, Marvel, John Wick, or whatever you like to watch. And there are reasons why we love these characters. And this is most important to look at, because if you would like to be a hero, and if this app should help you to start your hero's journey, we need to deeply understand what the hero journey and the hero itself means. The first thing is that every hero starts with something missing, or they are lacking something in their life. So take a look at Harry Potter, for example. No parents, bad start, as a child attacked by a badass. And then on top of that, at some point, Harry Potter, for example, realized, hey, I am not a muggle. I can do spells and cast and crazy stuff, and I would like to learn it. In that time, at the beginning, he knew that Voldemort will become his worst enemy, but this is also something that later become part of his journey and his goals. Then the whole story is not only about what they want, but it's about what they need. What they need to find closure, what they need to find love, what they need to find their inner fulfillment. And that's something that we as human beings are all striving for. Therefore, the hero journey and the journey of the book Harry Potter or Marvel movies or something like that are always closing the gap within that time you're watching the movie or reading the book. So the whole journey is about closing the gap. And at the end, that's what we all love to see, because parts of their hero journey is what is mirroring inner parts within ourselves. What does that mean? There is always a reason why we fall in love with certain heroes and why we're not falling in love with other heroes. And I've just noted that the heroes that I see and I follow have a hero's journey, are having challenges and desires that I'm having too. I was recently realizing within one of my psychological inner processes that there is a part within me that is always judging things, which is always defending things. And it sometimes feels like I'm within a court, so to say. And interestingly, one of my favorite shows that I always love to watch is Suits. Suits is a show that is about lawyers, about power, about judging, about defending, about mandates and stuff like that. And I just realized, okay, this show is reflecting so many things within me, which is crazy. And my favorite character is, by the way, not Harvey Specter, in case you watched it. It's Louis Litt, because I love the journey of this character the most. And I will get back to this in a second, because the whole journey of the characters as well as the show is one of the most important things for me as app developer to understand your deepest needs and desires. But I started wrong. My first idea was to ask people, who is your hero, as onboarding start of the app. The problem with that is that a hero can be everyone for you. It can be Superman, it can be Iron Man, it can be your neighbor, your teacher, your father, your mother, or whomever, which is generally right and great, but there is a problem. I cannot pull data from your neighbor or from your parents. Therefore, I need to find a better way that still helps me to understand as much as possible what you are desiring, and with that also understand the whole dramaturgy of this character that you like, because this will help me later analyzing psychologically the deepest needs, fears, and challenges a person can have. I just starting building this questionnaire in an HTML file. I was just playing around. So I was vibe coding this pretty fast. And while doing this, I realized, okay, I am always falling back to my favorite shows, which is, for example, Suits, which is, for example, Ted Lasso. I love the show. There are characters that I love. I love the concept of the show. So these are my kind of heroes. And the good thing is books, movies, and TV shows are something that we're all watching all the time. Instead of asking for the hero, I should ask, what are your favorite TV shows, series, and books? And this was actually the point where the questionnaire started to pop off. And then I started building an engine that is absolutely crazy. And I need to show that to you. There are stories you love. This is very important to me to understand. There are also games you love to play. So whether it's computer games or Sudoku or something else, it doesn't matter. There are certain games you love to play. And based on that, I can learn a lot about you and about myself, by the way. And on top of that, we all have goals we would like to achieve. We want to lose weight. We want to find love. We want to get a better job. We want to become rich. Of course, there are the human desires and human needs that everyone has, and that's totally fine. And last but not least, it's also important for me to understand what is blocking you right now. Because every hero has their challenges, right? Challenges are the most normal thing, and therefore they must be catched within the user onboarding in order to be able to have everything that I can use to analyze and later on create completely individualized quests for you. This engine is actually right now, I'm not finished with building the whole app, just a bunch of prompts that are running through my Claude code. The outcome of this engine is what's most important, because what the engine does is it deeply analyzes all those information that you can see on the left side. So if you tell me what your favorite movie or book is, what your favorite character is, your favorite game, and your goals, I can drive crazy psychological analysis. As a therapist, of course, I have some knowledge and I know how to do certain things. And I'm going to add that into the prompts, and it will tell me a lot. I started doing this for myself first, and I was going nuts because I realized the prompts that I created and the output of it know much more about me than I knew. So there were many, many learnings that I made. And then I started rolling this out to friends, and they all said to me, Christian, this is crazy. And by the way, the whole engine that I'm building here is something that the user won't see later on. If you say the user should see it, let me know. Feel free to drop a comment. But right now, this engine is just built to analyze all those data. And the outcome is, first of all, to understand what you protect. We all have certain things that we are fighting for, right? And this also is connected to our wounds, desires, needs, and the things we are feeling vulnerable with. And that's completely fine. But it's important to understand that, because the apps should help you to move forward. They should not offend you. They should not push you to do something you don't want to do. And then there's obviously the thing you're going to chase. And here we need to distinguish between what you are chasing, so what you want, and what you need. The hero's journey is always split in these two parts. There are the things the heroes want, and there are the things that the hero need. But the thing is, the app cannot decide that for you. That means the app will always give you opportunities and will give you quests where you can decide if you would like to take them on or not. It will also drop you sometimes questions that help you to change your perspective if you want to. If you don't, you don't. It's very important for me to make sure that the app is not pushing people and also not trying to set the path for you, because you are the one who is defining the process. And last but not least, there's of course always the gap between all those things that I just mentioned. And this is something which will be the foundation for future quests within the app. All those things will help you to not only be the hero that you are right now, but also to become the hero that you want to be. What is next? How is this whole thing structured? Before I'm going to show you the questionnaire, I started to break it down into actually 4 layers. I'm going to take your answers, and the first thing I need to understand are your birth data. So I need to understand what kind of gender you have. I need to understand what the gender is you're identifying with. I need to understand your birth date. And if you would like, you can also give me your birth time and birth date, because in the background, I can then pull information about numerology, astrology, human design. So that's the spiritual part. If you are into that, later on, I'm going to connect the backend with the APIs to catch those data, because sometimes they match a lot of personal traits a human being has. But of course, it's not 100% set. Some people call it hocus pocus. That's fine to me. Within my engine, it will be considered, but it won't be weighted heavily to make sure that I'm not going to hallucinate too much, actually. So the next thing is the character. For that, I have 4 prompts. You are going to tell me what kind of series, TV shows, and books you love, what kind of main character you like, and why you're liking this main character, as well as the game that you are preferred to play. And based on this, I have multiple analyses that go through them step by step. And then I'm going to understand your goals, and this is only 1 prompt. The craziest thing here is, with those 9 prompts, that I'm going to put all of this into 1 meta prompt. This meta prompt is going to analyze all those traits one more time and creates a holistic T0 view. This is how I'm calling it internally. So that means I'm going to create like a one-time analysis at the time you are going to create that app. And this will be saved in a database and it will be never touched. But from there on, with all the quests and all the development that you are doing, we're going to update the current state, not the T0, on a regular basis, which means the database will, every time you achieve a quest, or you're going to ask questions, or you're going to journal within the app, update itself in the living part. But we will always also look at the T0 when we create quests to understand the initial start of the hero's journey, right? Because there's always a beginning, and the beginning is the time you decided to use the app. As a result, I have like 10 questions that I created. So how do you identify your birth date, which movies you love, which games you play. You can also say you don't play games in case you don't, and which hero you like the most. And then we have also which big goals you're chasing. So the list is not limited, while you can add maximum 3 TV shows and maximum 3 games that you love to play. There's also the question how you would feel once you reach that goal. And these are, let's say, therapist questions or emotional questions, and they are very important because the way you feel says much more about your desires and your intrinsic motivation than most people can imagine. If you, for example, would say, I would like to feel, after I achieved my goal, in control. Let's take just this one. Or I'm going to feel strong. This might be right, but I can tell you that this is not the truth. Because feeling strong is something that we have all learned in order to survive as a child. But there's no reason to feel strong or in control, because you cannot control life. But the reason why you do that is there is a need for security. And if you haven't felt secure enough as a child, you are going to develop a trait that wants you to feel in control and strong. And based on that, you are also going to define your goals. Yeah, you would like to be successful. You would like to be rich. You would like to have a company with 1,000 employees that you are managing. So these things are not wrong. Don't get me wrong here. But the question is, what is the deep intrinsic desire that's driving you? If you actually really need security, then there are much more fulfilling things that you can pick up on the journey towards your big goal that will help you to heal within your heart and to find that inner deep intrinsic security within yourself rather than on the outside. And again, the outside goal will never change, and the app will help you to get there. But the app will also help you to connect with your heart and your deepest desires. And if you are interested in this journey, I can just tell you press the link in the video description, which will give you access to this whole presentation, and you can just try it out yourself, fill it out. And I would love to get some data, because the more I have, the more I can play. And don't forget also that you can always download all the Markdown files and all the learnings that I've made within the session for free. And I'm looking forward to seeing you soon again.